Donc lorsque je flingue, c'est toute ma putain de nation qui flingue avec moi. Tu vois ce que je veux dire?
Welcome back, everyone. This is Puda with 3 Rounds. Coach Terry, Jab University. Together, 3 Rounds Live. How you been, man?
Pretty good. A little busy, but pretty good.
Okay. That's I saw your story. You know, you got awkward hugs going on. Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Is it end of the season type stuff?
Yeah, with the end of the college season type stuff, award ceremony type stuff.
Okay.
Big goofy.
Sounds good. And then, you know, one of the things that's happening is obviously we have a youth selection camp. So, you know, matters a little bit more than just, you know, regular camp. But you're saying there's some injuries there? So people are hurt?
Everybody's hurt.
Oh,
Everybody's hurt. Josh got poked in the eye day one doing that. You know, that shoulder tap school of boxing drill? Well, she's only 5 feet tall. So, like, everybody could still poke her in the eye. And she got her eye poked pretty good. Almost swallowed shut first day.
Oh man. Yeah, so that's all happening. You mentioned there's an interesting test match tomorrow. Some of these spots are going to be very competitive, man.
I never thought they would hit the same weight class. Masai Nemo from Dallas and Marcus Luther from DC. I never thought they'd hit the same weight class, but they're shifting the weight classes for the youth. So I'm pretty sure whatever weight classes they're entering are our 2028 weight classes. Even though I do assume Masai Nemo's turning pro around the end of the year anyway. But that's an interesting one I'd like to watch. I know he has an ankle injury, I believe, but like I want to see that test match. You got 2 big punchers.
Yeah, definitely.
Really big punchers.
Nemo was at 32, right? If I remember.
32.
So
Marcus
he came down to 25.
So I think it's like 27 and a half is where the weight class is or something weird like that. I don't know kilos. I went to public school.
You don't know kilos, this guy. All right. So today we're going all the way up to, you're familiar, El Paso, Texas. There's just, boxing is Texas. There's boxing everywhere in Texas, but definitely around the border out there in El Paso, there's a lot of competition that happens both either side of the border, right? Mm-hmm. Mexico and the U.S. And our guest is definitely familiar with that, so we'll get into that. So we're gonna just go ahead and bring her in right now. Let's see. Hey, champ, how you doing?
Oh, good.
First of all, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us here for a little bit. 3 Rounds Live, solely dedicated to amateur boxing, and you've been doing a lot of things in the amateur boxing world. So we, get to know you a little bit and see what you're doing and how you got here, where you want to go. So, but first, go ahead and say your name, city, and state, and the name of the gym that you train at.
My name is Nayeli Rodriguez. I live in El Paso, Texas, and my gym is called Rodriguez Fight Team.
Rodriguez Fight Team. All right. First question I ask everyone is, how do you get involved? How do you get started in boxing?
Well, excuse me.
Man, Coach said going at it right away. Look at this. Hey,
I can't help it. I'm sorry.
It's all good. Go ahead.
Well, all of my siblings boxed. We started off in the backyard, and I was little. I was like 7, 8 years old. I would play with my dolls outside while everyone was training. So that's how it started. Funny thing is that my parents did not want me to box. I was the only one that they're like, no. And I'm the one that stuck with it. So
there you go.
All right. I got a lot of questions, but first, something that just stands out. The signature red hair. I remember when the hair was brown, but the red hair's been around for some years now. What's up with the red hair?
Honestly, so one day, I don't have like a story behind it. Well, the only thing is that one day I cut my hair because I thought my hair was just like long and thin, and I was like, ew. I cut it and I'm like, Mom, I look weird with short brown hair. I feel like I look like Dora. So then I decided to go red.
Yeah. And it has become a signature. It's kind of anytime that I had seen you competing or in tournaments, I
you don't have to see the
hair.
Face.
You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, that's Nayeli right there competing. Did it become like a thing that you noticed and you said, you know what, I got to keep up with it now. Everybody knows me because of this.
Yes, everyone does know me because of my red hair. Like in I don't know if you know, I have my dual nationality. So in Mexico, they call me pelirroja. So
Okay.
yeah.
There you go. There you go. So how many fights do you have so far?
I would say I have close to 90 fights. I do not keep count.
Okay, I know, but you are very active. So 90 doesn't come as a huge surprise. Out of all that experience, do you have a memorable bout, big win or one that you learned a lot from?
I would say I have two favorite bouts. I did lose, but I think it was the best fight. It was fun, exciting, technical. It was against Jury Rodriguez from Houston.
Hmm.
We fought at the State Golden Gloves, and man, it was an exciting fight. You know, she's technical. I love her style, so it was that one was a fun one. Definitely.
And what was the other one?
The other one, it was in Mexico. It was actually my finals bout when I got my first national win over there, and she was the number one spot and competing internationally and stuff. So it was definitely one of my favorite ones as well because I demonstrated my skills. I showed a lot of confidence and I gave it all my in that fight. So
Okay.
Hmm.
So been boxing since you were tiny, and you, like a lot of people that are on this platform with us, have the privilege. Consider a privilege of having your father be your coach, right? And I love Jeff. His name's not Jeff. His name is Joe, but call him
yeah.
Jeff. All right. Like, what does that mean to you to start out with all your siblings for one, but to have your dad as your coach in the corner? Tell us all about it.
I would say it's definitely a blessing. I mean, it's not easy, because it's a lot of, I set standards with my dad. Yes. But I feel like through the years, like we've been through ups and downs and we grew together and it helped me mature for sure. And I've always said I'm very blessed and thankful. They sacrificed a lot for me to get where I'm at. And I just feel that, and it's not only my dad, it's also my mom. And
Yes. Yeah.
Hmm.
my mom, she's scary. I'm scared, but I am definitely very blessed and thankful because they got me where I'm at, and nobody is gonna be they obviously they're my biggest critics, but no one else is gonna give me the support that they do. So I'm very thankful.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those things that this sport tends to see a lot is that the journey being shared with the parents. It just kind of makes it that much more special, right? And obviously, like anything that anybody's passionate about, you do bump heads because you want to make sure everybody wants to win, right? And that's just kind of how it gets in there. And then when you kind of go through the social media, like on the account for the gym for the fight team, you're proudly put right there in the center. Like you can tell that there's a lot of pride behind that, and when things get a little tough, because this is a tough sport, right? Sometimes it can get difficult to continue. Uh, what are those things that kind of keep you focused and going? You mentioned that from your siblings, you're the one that kind of stuck with it. What made you stick with it?
I would say the passion for the sport. I have a lot of passion for it, and I do not know how to quit. So I've had a lot of people tell me like, to quit pretty much, and I don't let it get to me. I think my biggest motivation is my family, my parents, my siblings, because they truly believe in me, and because of that, I know that I can make it. So,
Awesome.
but
All
I do
right.
say it's really hard, because like me that I live with my parents, I have coaches 24/7. I don't have mom and dad. So it's sometimes hard to sometimes I need my mom and dad, but they're on coach mode, because boxing it's a very disciplined sport. It's a selfish sport. Very
Yep. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's for sure.
All
Coach.
right. So what is your favorite thing about boxing? Like what makes it? There's so much you could do. Not to mention you guys were kickboxers too. You guys did other combat sports. You wrestled in high school. You did all kind of stuff. But boxing is it for you. Like, what is it about the sweet science that drew the little redhead girl to it?
I would say, I mean, it's gonna sound a little crazy, right? But I love to like the adrenaline of getting hit and be like, okay, you hit me, I'm gonna hit you back. And like I mean, you guys see me fight, you know. One of the biggest things that keeps my confidence up is that I have a really nice jab. And I like using it, you know, and it works a lot. So,
Yeah, definitely. And we have seen you compete a lot. But to the people that haven't seen you compete, how would you describe your style? What kind of boxer are you? What do you try to do when you get through those ropes?
I would say I'm a distance fighter. I like on the outside. Um, but I can pretty much mix it up. If I gotta, you know, there's fights that are not pretty, you know, and you gotta do anything to win. And what I like is that I know how to make adjustments, and I know that how sometimes I might not look so technical, but I can be dirty as well, and just to get the job done. You know, I have a really nice reach, and I think I use it very well.
Okay, so I've been in the corners with you several times, and we've had several different outcomes. And I noticed you respond a certain way to certain things. You don't like being yelled at too much in the corner. I noticed that.
No,
Why? Because it's intense situations, but sometimes the yelling happens. And like,
yeah.
why do you respond a certain way to like the calm talking versus the yelling sometimes?
I just feel like when like my dad, it's funny because my dad's like, jab, jab, right, and he's like yelling at me. I'm like, what do you want me to do? Because like, you know, and it's funny because even in sparring, I'm like, sometimes I'm like, Dad, just let me do my thing, you know, and not that I don't. I mean, how do I say it? Like, I mean, having a coach in the corner, I mean, it's very important, you know. But I feel like that's why I tend not to listen because so much information is getting thrown at me because I'm an overthinker. So if you tell me like to do like all these combinations, I'm like, but which one's gonna make it? Because I don't know. And I that just goes to my head. It's like a slow motion thing that I'm like, my dad told me to throw a jab with the right uppercut, but is it gonna make it? And then he's telling me to throw a double hook, you know, a hook to the body, hook to the head. I sometimes I'm just like, what do I do? So, but when it's more like calm and my dad's like, okay, like there's times and we've talked about that, you know, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna tell you what to do in the beginning of the round and then in between the rounds, you know, and he just says, I want you to work your jab this whole entire round. If you gotta mix it up, I'll tell you here and there when to mix it up. And I'm like, okay, and it has worked. It that has worked on me way better.
And have you noticed a change over time? Because you got to understand, he's going to be excited. You're his youngest child, right? So,
Yes.
yeah, he's trying to protect you and get you to win. But like, has it, as you got older? Because I was there to those teenage years where you wasn't listening to nobody, and
Yeah.
and has like as you become a young lady, like has it like his coaching changed with, I guess, your maturing?
Yes, I feel like well, the coaching is the same because he's been it nothing has really changed in that. I would just say more of the communication part
Yeah.
of dating, you know, like of us hearing each other where back then I was very stubborn. I wouldn't even tell them something was hurting, you know, until after and I would get in trouble and they're like, well, why don't you tell me? You know, and I just think it's the communication. But I feel like that's on my end because and I feel like I matured a lot as a fighter because of that, you know.
There you go. So how old were you when you first started competing? Did you start competing way back in Pee Wee
Yes.
division?
Well, yeah, I started at 8, but I was doing kickboxing first. And then when I turned 12, that's when I registered with US Boxing, and then that's how I full
Okay.
on.
And well, some of the boxers that we talked to, they mentioned that sometimes they have to kind of they got to get mentally prepared. Not everybody can do it. You can train all you want in the gym, but sometimes it's hard to kind of translate to actually competing in the ring with an audience and all that. Have you had any kind of difficulties with the things that you had to overcome to be able to, to compete? Like you said, you get the adrenaline kind of going from somebody hitting you, but was that always the case, or did you kind of have to slowly, just get comfortable competing?
I think I had to slowly get comfortable with competing. I definitely had a lot of obstacles. I think that since I was young, one thing about me, like I said, I'm very stubborn, but and the boxing part, and it's a little bit in a good way, because I don't know how to quit. And as far as like when I get hit and stuff, or if I'm injured in the mental part, like I know how to put things aside. I know how to do it better now, older, than when I was younger. Because when I was younger, it was more like an emotional part, and it wouldn't help me mentally prepare for a fight. And now I've completely learned how to separate things. Like, okay, I'll think about this after. Like there's a time and place for everything.
And was that a slow progression, or maybe was it age division, maybe the competition, longer rounds, like, or was it just a slow progression for you to get to the point where you're at now, and you can approach about a little bit more, calmer and kind of more strategic?
Um, I would say maybe like a slow progression, but I've always had it in me. There was a time like in my teenage years that I feel like I was a bit distracted, and it was holding me back. I was in a situation where I was allowing things to hold me back. So I had taken a pause of that, like not separating what's going on, and now that I'm in a better place, a better situation, I feel much more like, okay, I don't care what's going on. I don't care. This is my time. So I feel like I had a moment of like, like how my dad says it, I had my little funk, but I'm out of that.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
All right. So let's talk El Paso boxing, right? So El Paso is kind of known as the boxing city, even though I think Juarez is more of a boxing city than El Paso is. And like, kind of watched it evolve, because it was like, yeah, we're going to turn 16, we're going to turn pro. But now we've got people that are going to nationals, winning nationals, a lot of them from El Paso and Las Cruces. But not only you guys going to national tournaments, placing real high, winning, you're going to the other side of the border and like, hey, we're going to do it over here too.
Yes.
So like, for one, like, what is it like being an El Paso boxer, right? Representing Chuco Town 915. And then what's it like going on the other side of the border saying, hey, we're better than you guys too?
Well, being a El Paso boxer, I would say it's cool. It's very nice, yeah, like you said, we are known as a boxing city, but I don't quite see it, but now we are growing, and there's more support out there. There's more like each kid is gaining recognition, and even the little ones are looking up to like us older ones. And I love that, because it's slowly you're seeing more and more talent in El Paso. And as far as fighting over there, I'm going to say this, like me going to Mexico was probably the best thing for me. Fighting in Juarez, let me tell you, not that I wasn't really welcomed with open arms, because they're like, hey, why is this American girl fighting over here and trying to take our spot? But I'm like, hey guys, I'm Mexican too. But I totally understand, because I mean, they have their champions out there, and I'm just walking in like, I want my spot, But again, I earned it, and I'm gonna say this: I feel like fighting in Mexico, it humbled me, in a lot of ways. I mean, I've always been humble, but in the sense of that, over there, there's a lot of honor, and those kids that fight over there, they do it for a purpose. And I feel like I'm privileged, because here I fight because of passion, and I have the privilege of having my parents over there. They fight because that's their way out, and there's a lot of talent over there. And I had to earn my spot when in the city, and then going to state, and then to nationals. It was a tough road, but it was definitely a very humbling one.
Yeah, because it's a lot of you starting to go over there now,
Yeah.
even though we've kind of been going back and forth for years.
Yeah.
You, as Moy's been going over there quite a bit.
Yeah.
Ari, before she joined the Army, was going over there quite a bit. Like,
Yeah.
it's getting like a lot of people just been going over there. And We've been sending good ones over there. I'm not gonna.
Right now, we have Citlali, who's been there for a while, and Perla is now out there with her in Thailand with the team. Like,
Carlos Morales.
Yeah, Carlos Morales seems to be going there often.
Cindy Salazar.
Yeah. But like Nayeli said, you earn those wins, right? You still got to compete. You still got to win. And when you see some of that video, some of that footage, they're winning, and it's that skill. So, but I definitely do understand the perspective of, the pride that comes competing over there, because it is the way out. It's a poor man's sport, like we say, and it's a way to go out there. So, real quick, we're talking to Nayeli Rodriguez out of El Paso, Texas, 3 Rounds Live, number 189, elite boxer, competing at what weight class are you competing nowadays?
125.
125, and elite. So I don't. A lot of major, important decisions are probably going to be in the horizon as far as what to do, especially post Olympics. A lot of things change, especially for elite boxers. So we'll get into that. First thing, when you first started young, after kickboxing and whatnot, 12-year-olds, very, very young, how have your goals changed and evolved now to how when you started in the sport? Are your goals changing? You got bigger goals? Are they still the same? Like, how has that aspect changed, now that you've been in the sport for several years?
Well, I think I've always had the same goal. Of course, my parents have always told me dream big. So I have little goals on the side as well. But in the boxing part, I've always told my dad, I want to be a world champion. I want to be on the top, so whether it was going through the Olympic route or, turning pro, I'm definitely going to turn pro. Hopefully having my pro debut pretty soon. But so my goal has always been, I want to be a world champion. I want to be one of the greatest, and so that's one of my biggest goals.
Awesome.
All right. So, well, we're still on the subject of Mexico and your goals. So what is the biggest difference between competing in a U.S. tournament and a Mexico tournament? You guys, the Mexico seems to still do it the old way, where you win the city or smaller region first, state, regionals, and then the nationals, where now, like, if you got a couple grand to spend a week away from home, you can kind of do it in the States. I know that's just like one obvious one. What are the other differences?
Well, I'm going to say this, and over there, they don't care who's the number one, who's the number two. Over there, I would say in the brackets, there's no seeding over there. There's no such thing as you're seeded number 1, 2, or 3. It's a regular bracket draw, and that's one of the differences. I would say the competition. For me, I had a harder time in the state level than at nationals. But because at state, I'm telling you, like, there's so much talent there. And I was like, whoa, like in Chihuahua, I have really tough girls. The first day I fought a girl on the selection team, and I was like, oh man. And, as coaches, sometimes, like, you're afraid of, like, damn, she has the Mexico uniform. Like, it's going to lean over to her side, but you know what? I went in there, I performed, and they gave me the win. And I was like, considered, like, I was a nobody there, I was just a little American girl over there, so I would say that's one of the biggest difference, and the atmosphere over there. They're like a team. Even though you're gonna fight against your opponent, they're a team over there. They treat everybody the same. Like,
there you go. And I think anybody who competes in a sport as brutal as boxing and as competitive as boxing is, you just want a fair shot. What I mean? Compete, win, and just go from there. It sounds a lot easier than it actually happens. Maybe just because we see how it's been happening over here on this side of the border. But at the end of the day, that's how they really want. So when you just said it, boxing is 24/7. Every day, it's a very selfish sport, but there's got to be some times when you don't want to put in the miles or train or drive to go get some sparring or go to a week-long tournament. But what what keeps you going? I mean, do you take time off? Do you like how do you worry about burnout? Like, how do you make sure that you are still trying to achieve your goals and doing everything you can, but not sacrifice too much?
Well, like I said, boxing is 24/7 with me. I don't take breaks. If I take a break, it's because I'm literally like broken. Like something is like I'm really injured. For the most part, I haven't had a break since a while. The only time I took a break was when well, no, not even that. I have a funny story coming off of that. My parents, I told them, hey guys, my wrist is hurting because I was sparring with a kid. I punched him right here on top of the head. It was an uppercut. And I felt my wrist like pop out. I'm like, oh, for a whole month. I even competed in my first Mexico tournament. I competed. I told my parents, hey guys, my wrist is hurting. Just put some ice on it. You're fine. Just hit wrong. I'm like, okay. I come back, and after my fight, my dad's like, why weren't you using your jab? You kept using your right. And I'm like, Dad, I was like, I got to do what I had to do to win the fight. I won, and he's like, okay, but we got to, go back home, work on it. And then this other coach, he was like, I think you should take her to, get her wrist checked. I went, got checked, and it was dislocated. A whole month.
Oh, wow.
So with those things, like I said, I've been through a lot of obstacles, and like I said, I have a lot of faith in God, and I'm like, okay, I'm going through these obstacles for a reason. At this moment, I'm like, I don't understand why. I don't know, like, what's going on. Why is life treating me like this? But I feel like at those moments, what keeps me going is like, no, there's a purpose in the end of this, and there's a lesson. So I'm just going to keep going forward. So that's how I'm always at mentally. Like, I need to go forward. Like, it's okay. Nothing happens,
Awesome.
So I know me and your dad watch boxing because we talk to each other. We talk about boxing, right? So do you, like, outside of you actually competing, do you watch boxing? And if so, who are you watching?
I do watch boxing. Who I watch, I watch a lot of Terrence Crawford. My all-time favorite is also Lomachenko. And the females, I love Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor, and Alicia. I can't say her last name.
Baumgart.
Yeah, her. I those are my favorite females. Like, and then Yocasta Valle.
She was just there. Didn't you spar with her or somebody from their team?
Yeah, I sparred with Roxy.
Yeah, Verduzco, right?
Yeah, I sparred, and then I sparred with Yoka's sister. Yeah. She's the one. But let me tell you, I was like, she has a heavy hand, and it was good work, And I mean, it was like really cool because I'm like, I met Yoka. So I was like, I had a fangirl moment, but it was awesome.
Definitely. And that's the thing that boxing does, bring so many different people together, right? Especially when you start going, sparring with pros and everything, you just amazed who you find, in the gym sometimes. Now, you mentioned about mentally being prepared and kind of telling yourself kind of how to receive how things are happening to make sure that you're in a good spot when it's time to compete. But say you're a couple bouts out, you're getting your hands wrapped, like what, how are you getting ready? What's your dad telling you? Like, how are you making sure that you're going to be ready to compete while, as soon as that bell rings?
Well, my dad, he always reminds me how proud he is of me, and I think that's what pumps me up. Like I said, he has to talk to me calm. And when he's hand wrapping me, he tells me, remember, like my techniques, remember what kind of style you have, remember what you're capable of, and my mom, she's like the pump me up one, like, she says cuss words. I'm not gonna say it, but she's like,
I've heard her.
I was like, go get ready, F things up, it's your time to shine. I'm like, yes, Mom, you're right. So between them, it's like my mom's like the little pump up one, and my dad's like he's like reassuring me, like, hey, no matter what, I'm always proud of you, and I'm always gonna be right there with you. So that's like how how I get ready for a fight. And me myself, I'm more like calm. I'm just like, and then once I'm in there, I'm like, okay, let's go.
Okay.
All right. So I mentioned this before, and I don't know if you guys have done it. But everybody exercises. But the separate strength and conditioning program from boxing training, is Big Jeff kind of taking care of all of that, or have you guys like hired a separate strength and conditioning coach to handle that for you?
Well, my dad, I do my strength and conditioning with my mom. So
Okay.
my mom, they're like always talking. My dad tells her, okay, add this to her workout. She can, get better in this. And my dad, sometimes I'm like doing mitts or I'm sparring. He's like, what did you do to her? What did you do different? So my parents are the ones that are do my strength and conditioning for me.
Okay.
And does that do you see a difference in performance when you are actually doing the strength and conditioning?
Yeah, I do because I would say like back then, like I was very like kind of flimsy on my legs, like clumsy. I was clumsy in my legs.
Yeah, you're clumsy.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, now I'm clumsy. Yeah, I was very clumsy in my legs, and now I see a difference at my stance. It's much more stronger. I'm not, because 125 is not really my weight class, but I'm not getting pushed around at 125. Like I said, the only reason I started doing 125 was because of health reasons. You know, but and now that I'm all better, but I've been doing 125. I'm about to turn pro, so I'm like, I'm just gonna stick with it. I'm almost out. So, but yeah, I do see that difference in the strength because don't get disappointed, but one time I was in discipline with my weight and I kind of slacked in that. I was training everything, but in the weight I kind of slacked it. One time I learned my lesson, but from that one time it was craziness. But in that fight I was really weak. I'm not gonna lie, I was very weak, but my stance was still there. I wasn't getting moved around, pushed around, nothing. I was like very strong still. So that's a big plus that I've seen.
Shout out to Mom Rodriguez. Beto,
Yeah,
good job, strength and conditioning.
definitely. And they're very active. Whoever runs the social media, you definitely put your guys' name out there, the team name, yourself. Sweet One is the nickname. How'd that come about? How and it seems like you had it forever.
Yes. Well, again, a funny story, right? My dad, when we were little, like, he would post like the fights on YouTube. So my very first fight, you'll see it, right? It's horrible, but my dad's like, "What do we call Nayeli? What do we call her?" My dad's like, "She's a girly girl, so let's just put Sweet One," and it just stuck like that, just because he thought I was girly and stuck, and I thought it was cute. I'm like, "Hey, Sweet One, I think that's cute. I think I'm sweet." So I'm like, it makes sense.
Ah, we got
Yeah.
we got doubt over here with Coach Terry here. Yeah, no, because we've asked so the boxers if they had nicknames. Some don't, some do, and I definitely noticed that one. And I think it complements everything that you're doing. The red, it seems like everything kind of fits. So that's
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be keep going in the pros with that. So
Oh yeah.
All right, so you kind of alluded to it. So I'm gonna ask, hey man, when you gonna do it? Like when you gonna go get paid to do this? Like when can I expect to see you on TV, or when I can buy a ticket and go yell at you from the crowd?
Well, we're still in the works with that. My dad wants me to have my pro debut before summer ends. I'm gonna do my last tournament, which is the Golden Gloves, the National Golden Gloves in Detroit, Michigan. That's gonna be my last tournament, and there I'm gonna register and get ready for the pros.
All right, so before the summer is
Yes.
over.
Yes.
it seems. Yeah, it seems common. Like a lot of boxers after the trials want to kind of get that Golden Gloves kind of last kind of run at the National Golden Gloves, and then kind of go off from that. Now let's bring it back to last year. Obviously, you were competing in Mexico and winning and kind of going through the how we regional, state, nationals, and all that. But you did compete at the Summer Festival back in the summer last year, and got silver, which gave you a spot for the Olympic trials. But then you fast forward to December, You were not there at the bracket. How did that decision come about? Even though you did have a spot, was it something that, you know what, I'm going to be focused more on the what you're doing in Mexico, or what kind of triggered the decision to say, you know what, this is not something we're going to do?
Well, due to personal reasons, one thing, my brother had graduated for the New Mexico State Police, and it landed right on the tournament. So that was one of them. The personal reasons was just that it would have been a great opportunity to go, but I just felt like I've been through this so many times, and I wanted to put my energy somewhere else, and that was the reason why I decided to go through Mexico. And I wasn't well informed as well. They had told me in Mexico, if I competed at the trials, I wouldn't be able to compete in the nationals in Mexico. But I saw others do it, and I was like, oh man, like I could have done it, because I'm the type, I don't care the outcome. I don't care. I care about my performance, and that's why I kept going to these tournaments. And I would have liked to go, just to get, get some experience and get some rounds and, before going to the nationals over there. So those were the reasons.
Okay, because there was a few, there was a couple that qualified and ultimately just did not compete for various reasons.
But I feel like information is filtered through the states like weird, and it's kind of like, remember that telephone game? You say something, by the time you get to the last person,
it's like completely different.
Completely different. Yeah, it just happened with Colorado, New Mexico Golden Glove. They told D'Angelo he wasn't going to be able to fight 119. He's kind of like too small for 25. Turn around, they take a 119. So it's like sometimes stuff gets filtered, the wrong way. Yeah, so it happens, man.
Thing, So
yeah.
So
yes.
When you decide, like, what made the decision? Like, you want to do this last tournament, but like, you've always wanted to be a pro, but like, what made you and your dad and your mom decide the end of the summer? It's like, what was the little thing where like, okay, she's ready to go pro? Like, what was that?
My dad saw, like I said, the maturity. He saw that, okay, this is what she wants. This is not fun and games. She is willing. I showed him, it's always been the plan. I've always said, okay, after the 2024, if I make it or not, we're going to turn pro right after. But we didn't really have like a time, like in the beginning, it was just like, okay, we're just training a year and then get into the pros. Like, it was like the same plan, but now he's like, okay, let's do it sooner. I guess because he sees where I'm at mentally, and he sees, because like I said, I've been through obstacles, like life kind of changing of things, and I guess he saw that, oh, it doesn't matter what's going on in life. She puts boxing as a priority, and and turning as a pro, it's your job. It's your job.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting paid for this. So I can't just go in there and be like, oh no, like I'm sad. And no, I gotta go in there and pay my dues in there. So.
Yeah, definitely. And well, this is a question that Coach Terry usually asks, but I'm going to go and take it from you just this one time. But because boxing is tough from all angles, all aspects, and it's very consuming. You're 24/7. It's a lifestyle. You kind of that's what you do. But what has the sport of boxing taught you about yourself? Like what you can do, what you can accomplish, what kind of limit, all that stuff. What has the sport taught you about yourself?
Ooh. I feel like it just made me who I am. It taught me confidence. It taught me, a lot of discipline. And just like willpower, like being able to be mentally strong, pushing through things, and as a fighter, like I've learned that, okay, like sometimes life is not, like, you may think, oh my God, life is not fair, it's not going my way, but in the end, there's always a lesson learned. And I feel like being in the sport, I've learned a lot of lessons, in the boxing world, and also like me as a person of who I am. I've learned a lot.
Awesome.
All right, so if you today, redhead Nayeli, ran into little brown-haired Nayeli. What words of advice would you give little brown-haired Nayeli from the redhead genius now?
To keep going, to not give up and to not allow anyone to tell you that you can't do it, because you definitely can. Those would be my words. And just to always dream big, and take in every opportunity that's given to you. That's what it is.
There you
Those are
go.
good words.
Yeah, definitely. And now that you're essentially at the tail end of your amateur boxing career, um, you know, sitting back, just looking, at the years that you spent in the sport, like, what are you going to take from it as you get ready for the journey of pro boxing? Because yes, boxing is in the same, amateur boxing and pro boxing, but it's a whole different sport. It's, you're going in there, and everybody who's turning pro, they're essentially they're the new ones, they're the newbies, right? It's like uh, it's a different world. So what kind of lessons and things are you going to take from amateur boxing to help kind of facilitate that transition over to pro?
What I'm gonna take is, I would say, like, going back, all the little obstacles I've been through, I'm gonna take that with me. All the, like, the sacrifices, the discipline part. That's the big one, the discipline. That going into the pros, I know that I'm not gonna be those fighters that, take long breaks and don't stay active, and stay in shape. I want to take that discipline with me. I want to be a 24/7 boxer. I want to be able to, they call me up, you want to fight, okay, let's go. I want to always be 100% ready. And that's what I was also taught in the amateurs, that my dad, he would always have me train as if you're going to fight this Saturday, train as if you're going to fight all the time. And that's the same mentality I'm going to take into the pros. And I personally feel that, I think I'm gonna make a good name of myself in the pros. I feel like my style belongs there, so I'm really excited.
Okay. And how long do you plan on being an active participant in the sport, like as the boxer, not as a manager, coach, whatever, but how long? Because I've heard, I think Canelo said 35 or he's out. You know, uh, I know Bud and them are my age, but they're they're going to be out soon. Like, are you going to give yourself this definite date or definite age before you get out, or
Oh,
Um,
Coach Terry, he left. Oh no! Oh, there we go. There he is. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jeb. Oh,
yeah.
go ahead and answer the question, and we'll see
Oh,
if he does that.
um. Well, I don't have like a specific date where I would end it. I've been doing this since I was 8. So I have a lot of wear and tear. But like I said, I see myself in the game for a long time. Of course, like, other than boxing, I have other, like, goals and dreams on the side. I have, like, I want to also, like, I want to also have time for myself as a woman. But I mean, I really, for right now, my focus is just getting to where I need to be at. To, I want all the belts. I want to be an undisputed champion. That's what I want to be. I want all the belts. And so that's, as of right now, I'm just thinking of my ways of getting there. And like I said, I also want time as a woman, for myself. And so I just think that it's just, like, you have goals. I believe this, like, you can't have the mentality of, okay, at 22 I got to be this, I got to be that. Because when I was 18, when I was in high school, I said I was going to 2020 Olympics, and after, if that didn't work, I was going to turn pro. And right now I'm 22, I'm going to turn 23, and I'm here. Oh, wow. Look at the route I took. And I'm thankful for that. So I just feel like I'm just going to let life play itself and see where, I land at. And when the timing's right, it's right. And if I can keep going, I'm going to keep going, If I can keep going until I'm 50, then let's go. I just like, but, I'm just going to let life takes its course and see where
Yeah,
it puts me.
yeah. That's
I
that's
can't believe you're 22.
Hey,
It makes me feel older, and I don't like it.
Oh no! Now, you know, you spent obviously you spent a lot of time in the sport, and if you kind of got all this knowledge, right, from your parents, from sparring, from whatever you learned all these lessons, competing, kind of soaked in all this knowledge. Do you see yourself giving back, being a coach, or being involved somehow to get the next generation of boxers ready to, pursue their dreams?
Well, as of right now, I don't know if you guys know, but I am an official now. I registered to become official. I've been refereeing. I'm a good ref, Jeff.
Hey, we need some good refs over here. Hey,
yes,
I'll be the judge of that.
Oh,
yes, okay. Invite me to a fight and I'll ref it.
I will.
But no, that's good. So you're getting involved in that manner, and you see yourself kind of being involved in some capacity.
Oh yes. I mean, since I've been like maybe about 13 years old, 14, I've always been a little coach at the gym. I'd be with my dad and I'd be coaching, and he would let me because he's like, "You're not even saying anything wrong. You're on." That's what I was gonna say, So I've been like helping out the kids, But of course, I have to be a fighter first as of right now. Yeah. But when I turn pro, the times of me training is gonna be different. Obviously, my dad's gonna take time with me to be more one-on-one, kind of thing. And I'm gonna make time to start coaching, and yes, I want to be a coach. I'm officiating right now. Actually, when I come back from the Golden Gloves, there's fights. I think we're in May, right? May 25th. I'm gonna go and be official in that fight. So
there you go. So after you're collecting all those belts, just taking division after division. After that, you come back and coach up the next. Pelirroja, and get her ready for that. So that's great. So as we start kind of gathering our final question, again, I appreciate you to taking the time to talk to us. This is 3 Rounds Live, number 189. We're talking to Nayeli Rodriguez out of El Paso, Texas. Getting ready for that tournament next week, National Golden Gloves in Detroit, as the essentially kind of the last run as an amateur boxer. So tell us a little bit about that. How's camp? Knowing that it's going to be your last tournament. Is it a little different? Is it the same thing? How are you approaching this? Well, how did you approach the camp? Because we're already at the end. But how did that come? Kind of all play out, and how do you feel going into next week?
Well, I feel ready. This camp, it's been more of a mental battle here. Same thing, but like I said, I've had since the state Golden Gloves up until now, I've had a lot of little bumps, and I feel like right now I'm going in there with a purpose, with I'm mentally there, physically as well. I'm doing the best, and I give myself a pat on the shoulder just because I know, me and my family know what we've been going through. And so it's been hard, but I feel like I'm pushing through. So I feel excited because I know that in the end of it, it's going to be a good outcome. So.
Okay. There you go.
Ref, you suck. I remember reffing one time and I heard that and I was like, yeah, I hate this.
Fights. That's one thing. I like being in the ring and refereeing. I prefer doing that.
Oh
yeah.
Just, like, if I'm judging, I don't want I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I'm a know-it-all. I'm a boxer because I'm a boxer. I know I'm gonna give the right call. I know that everybody has a different view, but I feel like because of my experience, it does help me judge a fight properly, and I just, there's some new judges coming in, and I'm afraid of what if I'm the odd man out, and they see it differently, and I'm like, I don't want to be in that position. I don't want to be in the position of people coming up and telling, as it is when I've judged, they've come and asked me, how did you see that fight? And I'm just like, I didn't judge it. And I did judge it. I didn't judge it. And they're like, yeah, no, I didn't.
Oh no.
That's funny.
I'm the type of and I'm even like that with myself. That I'm like, no, I lost the fight good. Oh, wow. That's boxing. You're going to win. You're going to lose. And I see it how it is, you know, and I mean, like I said, it's a very controversial thing. You know, there's some judges that make mistakes. You know, we're all human, we make mistakes, and it's, you know, but I do tend to be fair, you know, like, so.
Now, you know, one of the things that we keep hearing, especially at the amateur level, obviously in the pro as well, but when you think you did everything right, you're in there, you're competing, you're jabbing, everything's good, you feel good, and then the decision goes the other way. Just, I'm sure you've dealt with that. Like, how have you dealt with that? Because there's a lot of boxers, a lot of young boxers who you know are feeling that. It's like, whoa, what do I have to do to win? You know, how did you know, your parents, how do you guys deal with some of those decisions just didn't make sense? You know, to be able to keep going and not say, you know what, I don't care about, you know, I'm gonna go run track or something, or, you know, like, how do you deal with that?
Well, you know, my parents, they can even tell you guys. They'd be like, the only reason why we're here is because of her. Because, you know, as coach and parents, they're like, what did they see? Like, what am I doing wrong, you know? But me as a fighter, what I do, and you know, my dad, when he's on coach mode, you know, when there's times that I feel like the decision is mine, you know, and I mean, the rule book, when you're looking at the rule book of officials, I mean, I did everything that it says there, and here they're like, I'm not, how do I say it? You know, they count rabbit punches, they count that instead of actually solid punches. And there's fights that I have of that you know, I was, you know, very technical, very solid with my punches, clear punches, and it never went my way. But I've always seen it like, okay, well, what did the judges see that I didn't do? You know, and there's times that I'm like, well, I don't think the judges were just watching my fight, right? But I've always like trying and see the best of it, like see a positive out of it. Like, okay, there's a reason, because I feel like if you dwell on it and you're just like, I got robbed, and you're mad, you don't learn, you know. And the purpose of you like growing, and you know, you gotta learn how to take a loss, you know, even when you get like a bad decision, because I've been through that a lot. I've even in finals where I'm like, I'm in finals and I won this fight and give it to me, and but you know what? I'm just like, hey, if it was easy, anybody would be up here. And I just feel like, you know, like as for me, I have the mentality of like, okay, let's see what they didn't see. Maybe they saw something in me that I didn't do right, and maybe I should work on that, you know? And like I said, there's times that it's like, what were they watching? But like I said, you gotta, you know, take the next step and see, like, you see the rainbow and butterflies at the end of it.
Yeah. It I don't know. I think the years that I've been following you, you've always kind of presented yourself as looking at the positive side of things, regardless of the loss. You know, there's some times where some boxers would be talking all types of craziness on social media. They go compete, they lose, and then they're ghosts. They're not posting. But you know, regardless of win or loss, you guys are always, you know, shouting out the team or shouting, you know, everything else, shouting out the process essentially. You know, wins or losses, you're already there. And I think, I don't know, Coach, do you think that's something that people are they're just like that? They're just look at it positively, or can you learn that?
I think that's unique to Nayeli.
I gotta say, yeah.
I honestly can, out of a lot of boxers I've seen, I think that positive outlook is kind of unique to her.
Yeah, I
she
totally
sees the good in everything, including referees and judges. But no, that's a genuine statement though. Like from damn near 15 years I've known her. Like she's always kind of known she sees the good in every situation, whether she won, whether she lost, whether the decision was BS or whether it was just rightfully so. Like she kind of just sees the bright side on everything, and I think she's weird for that.
You know, because everybody says, you know, it's not a loss, it's a lesson.
She really lives that way.
You definitely live that. That is how you approach it, and I think it's done. You know, the whole discipline. I think it made you a better individual as a human, approaching different things, but it definitely helps in what you do as a boxer. Now, in pro boxing, I mean, you gotta go in there like you said and just want it and fight, because the wins and losses are definitely carry more weight when you're in the pro level. So that's something to consider. Um, so let me ask you this: say you're sitting at a table, and across from you got Matchroom, Golden Boy, all the biggest promotions. Like, how would you convince them, or what would you tell them to say? You know what? You should sign me. I'm the next star.
Well, like Terry said something about me, I would just tell him I'm a unique fighter, and I feel like I think I'm very charismatic. I'm very talkative, and I would tell him, look, this is what I have to offer. I'm technical. I can put on a show, because I feel like turning pro, in the pro level, it's a showcase. It is a showcase. It's like, it's very classy. It's a showcase going on, and I feel like I have that. I feel like I have that, the look. I have the look. I'm unique in that way, and I feel like that's what I have to offer. That I will put a show, and I feel like I can gather people, because I'm not, I post on social media, but I'm not that great on it, because I'm like, how do these people like, post themselves, and for me, I'm like, I need to get better on the social media part, right? But with the way that people know me, it's by word of mouth, and I feel like that's what's great, and I think that's what's big, because there's some people that I've never met, and they know me because of word of mouth, and I just feel like that's what I have to offer. I feel like I'm genuinely, like, not to sound cocky, I'm not cocky, okay? But I feel like I'm genuinely a people's champ. I feel like, and I think that's really big, because, when you see the little ones, and even adults, like, they're going to see a humble fighter. They're going to see, wow, that's a people's champ, and I feel like that's what I have to offer.
That's a great selling point.
So you got a magic wand, and you can fix anything about boxing, good, bad, in the ring, out of the ring, whatever. Abracadabra.
I'm a fairy godmother. I was like,
you're a fairy. All right.
Oh no.
So what are you fixing? What are you going to change about boxing with your wand?
What I want to change is the classiness in the sport. I feel like what I want to show is that, hey, like, you can be a woman, you can be a girly girl. It doesn't matter, and you can go up there and fight. I want to be able to show that, hey, like, just because you see others that they have all this accolades, they have all this, it doesn't mean that you cannot do it. And what I want to do is I want to make that change of that, hey, if you want something, you can do it and you can accomplish it. And I just want to be able to, if I can change that, I want to change the classiness in the sport, like how it used to be, the honor, and the respect, and that's something that I would definitely change.
Hey, you could do that on the men's side for sure. I hate press conferences now.
Yes.
Yeah, they should just start having them. Announce the fight, make the fight. The fake pushing, don't like that. You know what I mean? Like, if you touch me, we're either gonna fight for real and not get paid. You know what I mean? Like, but like, I don't like that staged false bravado. You know what I mean? Cussing, talking about your girl, your mom, and like, who shot John? Like, that's, I don't know, that I think that takes away from what this should be. To me, MMA people are gonna get mad, but that's their thing. That should be their thing. That's how their fans are. That's how, outside of the pure jiu-jitsu guys, they'll just hug you to death. But like, they're very friendly. But like, that pushing and shoving and cussing and fighting, and you know what I mean, you can like insult your opponent and not speak about their mother. You can, you know what I mean, you couldn't like say they're less of a fighter. Muhammad Ali did it all the time with jokes, never said any foul words. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The greatest. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm with you. The classiness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just bring that back. Shawn Porter, he's an example of that to me. He's very classy to me. Minus his tie. How does he get his tie knot that big? But no, he's a very classy guy.
Yeah.
Dresses real well, speaks real well.
Yeah.
You know, he'll talk trash to you a little bit, but not much. It's it's to sell the fight. It's not personal.
Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, the tie knot is humongous.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great point. There's definitely room to add some of that back, and you know, you'll be a great spokesperson for that. So, and you know, when we posted and mentioned we were going to have you on, we, you know, people were sharing or liking or whatever. So it seemed people are noticing and have noticed what you've been doing in the ring and outside the ring, and just kind of doing. So how does it feel having that type of support, having that, you know, people want to see you win. They want to see you win at a tournament, in life, and in the pros. Like, how does it feel just having that support and that you've kind of garnered? You know, you created this, and the whole time you've been a part of this sport.
Well, it feels good, you know, hearing it like from other people that like when they talk about me, I'm like, oh wow, like I would have never thought. Because sometimes I genuinely don't see myself as a big thing, you know. I'm just like, you know, I'm just a regular person. I'm just here following my dreams. That's how I see myself. So when others say like and share their support with me, it truly does mean a lot to me, and I'm very thankful because I'm like, wow, like you're taking your time to watch me and to support me, give me a little shout out, like even as little as liking a picture. I'm like, wow, like thank you, you know, because I'm not, I know like now things have changed, you know, you gotta post yourself, you gotta have a lot of followers, you gotta have this, you know, and for me, like I have to care about those things, obviously, right? But I really don't care, you know, like and the people that support me, it's like, oh wow, like that it makes me feel good. I'm like, oh wow, I'm doing something here. Like I am meant for, you know.
There you go. There you go. Shout out to mom and dad, doing a great job. You know, putting a good head over your shoulders, and a great kind of outlook. So go ahead and give out those shout outs, those thank yous to everybody that has helped you get to where you're at so far.
Well, I want to give a shout out to my team, you know, all my sparring partners. I have a lot of sparring partners, so I'm just going to say thank you in general. You guys know who you are. I want to say thank you, you know, to friends, anyone who supports me, even if they're not related to me or don't know me on a personal level. Thank you. You know, my family, all my loved ones, and most of all, you know, thank you to my parents, because I'm here because of them, and everything that I do from this moment and on, it's for them. You know, so for them, I'm forever grateful, and I wish I can give them the whole world, you know, because I feel like they deserve it. Because of them, I am who I am. So a big thank you to my mom and dad.
There you go. There you go. Coach,
Are
you
we
got any
doing
final words?
Are we doing any Sweet One merch for the pro debut?
Yes, you know, I'm on the works of that. You know, I guess a little teaser. I'm gonna, for every pro debut, I mean every fight I have, I wanna have like a little,
Oh, okay. A little
thing
bandana. Okay.
to say sweet one, and so we're on the works of making that as of right now. So
I want mine to say Jeff.
to say Jeff, okay.
No, it's you know, it's already past an hour, so we're gonna go ahead and start wrapping it up. It's been great talking. I think we could have kept on talking. It almost feels like that. So and this is something that you'll definitely kind of keep doing, right? You're gonna get used to pros, interviews, whatever, you know, weigh-ins and all that stuff, that media days and all that stuff. So that's just kind of like a precursor to what's that's going to happen. So, you know, if anybody wasn't a fan before this, you're definitely a fan now. Follow. Where can people follow you? Follow this journey now into the pro ranks.
Well, you can follow my Instagram. It's Nayeli Sweet One with the number 1. Or as well, you can follow the Fight Team page, and it's Rodriguez Fight Team _, I believe. So
sounds good. Well, that's all we got. anybody who didn't miss some of the interview, we're gonna repost it. You'll be able to watch the whole thing. Some great insights into the journey of Nayeli, and some good tips. A lot of younger boxers, hopefully they listen to some of this stuff as far as just the outlook and the approach to the sport. I think that's something that is important, because a lot of people can say little cliche words and hear that it doesn't really mean anything unless you actually practice what you preach. You know what I mean? And you definitely have done that. So well, we'll be tuning in next week. We got the National Golden Glove, so we see how you do and everybody else is doing, and then shortly thereafter we'll see the bandana somewhere, and then that's gonna be awesome. And I always think of Julio Cesar Chavez, one of my favorite boxers, that the bandana all the time, go to the ring, so it kind of gives you that vibe. So that's all I got. Coach Harry, you got anything else? You good?
Nope.
You good? Monday we're gonna have Silas Rollins out of Texas, a younger boxer we're gonna talk to. We're not gonna have anything on Thursday because we're gonna be looking at the National Golden Gloves, and then the following week we're just gonna recap and see what's going on. Nayeli, I do appreciate it for taking the time. It was a pleasure. Coach Terry, as always, I appreciate you jumping on all the time. And sometimes you're rushing to it, but I definitely appreciate it. This is episode 189. It's crazy. It's crazy. And there's so many more that are doing things like Nayeli and putting really their heart and soul into the sport. So with that being said, I appreciate everybody tuning in to the only podcast solely dedicated to amateur boxing. You guys have a good night. Take it easy.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.